platform that ended up on the screen here, and I saw some folks reading that. And we'd like to keep that energy going. And what I'd like to do now is turn things over to Deputy Mayor Vincent Crisanti for a few opening remarks.
Thank you, Brad. And so Brad, as you heard, is with Ipsos. They're the facilitator. I want to thank them for doing this tonight. First of all, I want to thank all of you for being here this evening on a very, very important topic. And we're here to listen to you. The purpose of this evening is to hear your comments, your ideas, and we're looking forward to that. I also want to thank the City Manager's Office. We have a number of people here from the City Manager's Office, Planning, Economic Development, Finance, Public Health, and Social Development. I want to also identify some key people that are here with us tonight. There is Councillor Stephen Holliday standing at the back there, I believe, and we want to welcome him. There is former Councillor Suzanne Hall back here. I saw her earlier, we had a nice little chat. And also former Trustee John Hastings is here. I hope I haven't missed anyone. So as you just heard, my name is Vincent Crisanti, and I'm the City Councillor for Etobicoke North, and also the Deputy Mayor for Toronto West. And so geographically, the Woodbine Racetrack 555 Rexdale ward that I represent. Beautiful lands, very well maintained and looked after by Woodbine, close to 700 acres. And we need to make some decisions with respect to supporting, or doing something with Woodbine. We're here to collect some information from you. The information that we get from you will come back to executive on the June 30th meeting, and then it will go to council. I believe it's July 7th, which is the last meeting prior to the summer break. So in essence, what we're doing is dusting off the information we had 2 years ago. And as people may recall, 2 years ago, we were at that time discussing and debating the potential of two casinos, the live gaming at Woodbine and the downtown casino. So unfortunately, that vote for Woodbine was a very, very tight vote. I think it just got convoluted and mixed up in the major fight, which was the downtown issue. So now we're focused on Woodbine and Woodbine only. And I could tell you, Woodbine's been a great community partner. They do a wonderful job. They employ about 7,500 people, and it's also about protecting the jobs that are currently there. So I really don't want to say much more because, as I said at the beginning of my talk, is that we're interested in hearing from you, your comments or concerns. So I encourage you over the next little while to please come up and tell us how you feel. So thanks very much, and I'm going to pass it back to Brad. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. I'd now like to bring back Peter Notaro to give you a brief presentation.
Thank you, Brad. Good evening, everyone. My name is Peter Notaro, and I work in the City Manager's Office, and I want to welcome all of you. I'd like to start this presentation outlining a bit of the history to date on the question of expanding gaming at Woodbine Racetrack. So this is a bit of a history which many of you may know, but back in 2010, the Ministry of Finance requested that the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation, the OLG, to develop a process to expand and modernize or privatize gaming across the province. As a result, in March 2012, OLG rolled out its modernization plan to engage private sector partners to operate new casinos in 29 gaming sites across the province. This includes the operation at Woodbine. To enable modernization and expanded gaming, the province made changes to the OLG Act in May 2012 that requires municipalities, like Toronto, to provide consent with public input. So as the Deputy Mayor just mentioned, originally there were two potential sites in the City of Toronto under the modernization plan. There was a new downtown casino and an expansion of Woodbine. Both of these came into question when the city reviewed this in 2013. And the city manager, across city divisions and with public health, we conducted a thorough review of this. But as you may recall, in May 21st, 2013, City Council said no to a downtown casino and said no to expanding any existing gaming at Woodbine Racetrack. So just to be clear, at Woodbine currently operates approximately 3,000 slots. This continues. However, presently, City Council does not allow for any expansion at Woodbine to include additional live table or dealer games. In addition to the city manager's report, there have been numerous additional reports related to this issue, such as from the medical officer of health. All of these former reports are available online at the city's website. So why are we here this evening? Well, in March, City Council requested the city manager to re-examine expanded gaming at Woodbine Racetrack. As part of this, the city manager was directed to conduct a public consultation, including this evening's public meeting, and an online survey. City Council also requested the medical officer of health to report to the June 1st Board of Health meeting on any public health impacts of expanded gaming at Woodbine. So City Council was quite thorough in asking city staff to review a myriad of things related to expanded gaming at Woodbine. So in addition to this public consultation, City Council's decision in June or in July will consider a number of things, and please bear with me for a moment. You see all these various building blocks here. So in addition to the folks' public input, city staff will be reviewing the size and type of facility that would be suitable at Woodbine, land use, infrastructure, and planning matters, public transit and transportation considerations, potential economic impact and risks to existing employment if a casino were located in the GTA but not in Toronto, the potential costs, if any, and revenues to the city. The benefits, so City Council asked us to relook at the benefits of the 2007 Woodbine Live initiative, which you may recall. Of course, the potential health and social impacts of expanded gaming, a framework to ensure labor peace initiative is in place and local hiring is considered, and how expansion relates to the sustainability of the horse racing industry at Woodbine. So while the city is going through its decision-making process, just to note, the OLG continues to work on its modernization plan. Back in December 2013, OLG began looking for a service provider to operate 3 sites within the GTA. More on these locations in a second. Currently, the OLG is tendering a request for pre-qualification. This process is designed to find potential qualified private sector casino operators, and this process, I understand, closes in August. Once service providers have pre-qualified, OLG will then issue a request for proposal, which should identify a successful operator. The city does not currently know how long this OLG process will take. So I mentioned the zones. On this slide is a map of the OLG GTA gaming bundle zones, which includes Woodbine Racetrack. The GTA gaming bundle includes 3 areas. C2, which includes Woodbine, which is in the bottom left-hand corner there. C3, which covers Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby, and includes the existing gaming facility at Ajax Downs Racetrack, and potentially C8, which is Great Blue Heron Casino near Port Perry, Scugog. So OLG has determined, and it's important to note that OLG has determined that GTA customers will be best served by having a single private casino operator to manage all gaming operations across the GTA within this bundle. In other words, one private operator will provide gaming in all of these zones. So this is a blow-up of the gaming zone C2, where Woodbine Racetrack, you see Woodbine Racetrack is that little green circle there. It covers not only Toronto, but Vaughan, Brampton, and Mississauga. It's important to note tonight that City Council has directed staff to review the potential for expanded gaming at the Woodbine Racetrack site only. So a little bit on process. Again, bear with me for a little bit. I'd like to summarize the timeline and process I've talked about throughout this presentation, because it's important to note that City Council's decision this summer. The spring and summer is one step in the overall process. On this slide, you'll see along this arrow are some of these stages. The Executive Committee's initial request to staff, the public consultation, including tonight's meeting, an upcoming report to the Board of Health, and the City Manager's report to Executive Committee in June. As part of the City's staff report, the City Manager has the opportunity to recommend conditions that the province, OLG, and its potential operator and its future operator should meet to address the City's interests on potential planning, design, transportation, infrastructure, economic development, and social and health issues related to expanded gaming at Woodbine. I will discuss these conditions on the next slide. The OLG continues its procurement process as mentioned with its RFP closing in August, then followed by an RFP and the selection of a service provider. Again, as mentioned, we're not sure what these timelines look like. So if City Council in July does not consent to expanded gaming at Woodbine, the OLG procurement process will continue as planned, and the amount of gaming at Woodbine Racetrack will stay at its current levels. So as mentioned, City staff will likely recommend that if City Council allows the province to expand gaming at Woodbine, that it place conditions on its resolution. The objective of these conditions is to better align the OLG's interests with that of the city and the community's interests. Furthermore, staff would recommend that City Council require the province and OLG to cooperate with the city and facilitate a review of how the successful service provider intends to address the city's conditions. In addition, City Planning will be reviewing any new planning application through normal course, which will require an additional public consultation. The results of the city's review of whether conditions are met or not, and the results of the planning review would come back to Council for review. The public consultation is a key component of the process. Please note that tonight is the only public meeting we're having. However, the online consultation continues until May 29th, and we'll close it at 5 p.m. on that day. Staff will be finalizing a report by mid-June for an executive committee on June 30th, as you heard. In that report, we'll identify the results of the public consultation and all of staff's assessment, including whether there is public interest or opposition to expanded gaming at Woodbine, what those potential conditions may be, and any other things the public would like City Council to consider when making a decision. And the public are also invited to make a submission, a deputation at Executive Committee in June. So as mentioned, in addition to today's meeting, there's an online questionnaire and the June 30th Executive Committee meeting. The city will be conducting also a citywide public opinion poll. All consultation data will be posted on the city's open data site. So I'll now hand it back to Brad, and I just want to say thanks again for participating tonight. Your input is very much an important part of this process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. Appreciate that. I'm just going to switch presentations here. Okay, so this is the part of the evening where we open the floor up to questions, thoughts on the possible expansion. We encourage you as much as possible, or as much as you're comfortable, to use the mic provided in the center of the room. If there ends up being a long lineup of people, that's okay. We encourage that, but do form an orderly line down the middle. And once you're done, if you could sort of exit stage my left or your right if you're at the mic, and work your way back to the chair, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm going to moderate the session as best as possible. If there are questions that require answers, for the most part, that will be turned over to City of Toronto and other stakeholders who are in the room. Some of them will be seated here. I'm sure others will be elsewhere in the room. And if there are any questions that maybe require a bit of sleuthing or seeking out additional information, we ask that you be patient with us while we do that. And we do plan on having a break. We're not sure if we'll take one or not. You will sort of dictate whether that happens. After the break, hopefully we'll have some answers to those questions. So the mic is there. I encourage anyone and everyone to use it. We have someone up. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much. First up, better than last, and not have to say a word. It's Mike York with the Carpenters Union. And firstly, I'd like to thank the city for hosting this event, and also for getting us all back together, because we missed everyone over the last 2 years since our last go around. But what I would like to know, and from the city staff, is what's a prospective timeline? So I know we have to have this go through the council, and then there's some other issues with OLG. And then what I'd like to see is really a shovel in the ground, but I know that there's a whole set of other issues that we have to deal with first. So is it possible to get a potential timeline out to have a little bit of discussion about that? Thank you very much.
Sure.
So I'll answer your question, but just on process, we have a number of staff on the side, so bear with us. We're going to be, depending on the type of question being asked, I guess we're going to be stepping up to the mic kind of thing. So in terms of your question, in terms of timing, as you heard, we're reporting to Executive Committee in June. There's a July. If it passes through Executive Committee, it would go to a July meeting. If Council says no, then I think that's it. And Woodbine, as far as the direction given to staff, if Council says proceed with this resolution to expand gaming, if they accept what will likely be city staff recommended conditions, then it's over to the OLG. They are running an RFPQ process, which closes in August. Then they will engage an RFP, so they will, and I'm not sure how long that would take. But I'll try to get some answers for you on how long that might take.
Hello.
Thank you, Peter. Yes, sir.
Okay, just a quick comment. One of the big things that OLG or that Woodbine brings is, of course, jobs. I happen to be a Winter Circle member. I'm, for the whole thing, all that sort of stuff. I just find it interesting that the economic development people have said 2 half-time jobs equals a full-time job. If they implemented that at economic development themselves, they'd find out that all of a sudden a half-time job, you lose your pension, you lose your benefits, all that sort of stuff. So what I'm saying is that what I'd like to see is a social contract that you're developing is basically Woodbine committing to a specific number of jobs and a percentage of those, the ratio being full-time and the ratio being part-time if need be. Because right now it's like pulling the slot machine, but you have no idea what you're going to turn around and win. If economic development feels that 2 half-time jobs equals a full-time job, let them implement that in themselves and they lose all their benefits.
Okay, thank you for that feedback. On that note, I know some of these will be questions and some of these will be comments. In both cases, you may notice various Ipsos personnel taking notes. I'm sure other people are taking notes, but Ipsos personnel are taking notes. We don't attribute commentary to any one individual, but I just want you to be rest assured that we are absorbing all the feedback, not just through the online stuff or the surveys, but also this particular part of the session. So I just want to reassure you of that. Thank you for your feedback. Appreciate that. Yes, sir.
Most places around the world are closing down the casinos. Business is down. Atlantic City has closed down casinos. What justification do you have on expanding the casinos, especially in Etobicoke? I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, everybody's pockets have been picked. The business is down. Okay. Why are you, how's it going to benefit us residents of Etobicoke? Not the city. The city made their choice. They don't want it downtown. So how is that going to help us by opening? If we let them open up here, they're going to share the benefits of our increase in traffic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
So.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure if we want to turn that over.
Exactly.
So just a couple of comments to respond to you. So the city of Toronto, we're not in the casino business, right? The province, OLG, is in the casino business. They are looking to expand in the GTA. When we look at their documentation in terms of how much more casino business can expand in Ontario, they have done the work. We're no experts.
Tell Wynn the cupboards are bare. There's nothing left.
So we are responding to that desire to expand by putting some city a review on it and potentially some city conditions as we met. So in terms of some of the comments you made, you know, what type of community benefits or what type of ways of addressing some of the social and health implications, city staff will certainly be listening to you and be addressing that in its report back to the executive committee.
I think Stephen Holiday's here. Maybe you should give us some output on the increase in traffic. Is there going to be any? I don't know.
1 sec.
What do you think, sir? Is there going to be a big increase? That intersection's already packed to the limit at rush hour. You can't get through there.
Oh, sorry.
Eh?
Sorry.
Okay, you're not getting. I don't blame you, sir. I don't blame you at all. This is provincial garbage being hoisted on us. That's it.
Sir,
Thank
sorry.
you very much.
Sorry, I just wanted to touch a bit on the traffic issue. My name's Richard Beck. I'm with the City Planning Department, Transportation Planning Group. As part of any application for development, the developer will be required to submit traffic impact studies for the city to review, which will look at transit operations, traffic operations within the area network, and recommend improvements that are required to support their development. So we don't have an actual application before us today, so I can't tell you specifically what is part of this, but
You can't build any more roads, sir. Where are you going to build roads? More roads to get there.
Right.
You can't build anymore.
well, there's new
Are you going to have a
roads.
shuttle? Maybe the airport shuttle?
Well, those are things that council has asked us to look at as part of the city manager's report back in June 30th, to look at a preliminary transit strategy, as well as to look at the cost benefit analysis of extending the Finch LRT that is currently planned to go to Humber College, about extending that further south to Woodbine and Rexdale, as well as to the airport. So those are things that we have to look at, but again, we don't have a firm application to respond to at this time. But it is on our radar, absolutely.
Thank you for that. Just before I come to you, sir, I just want to, we have some folks speaking while others are speaking, and we're very much interested in what everyone has to say, but we want to make sure we capture it all. So you could just maybe wait to get to the mic. That would be very much appreciated. Again, that's sort of a selfish thing from Ipsos's point of view, because we can't necessarily hear what folks are saying beyond the mic. So if you could do that, that would be fantastic. Yes, sir.
Okay, my name is Gary, and I live about 10 minutes from here. So, what I would like to see is there's a map at the back with a 5-kilometer radius around the Woodbine Center, and I would like to see the city's vision for that whole 5 kilometers. I know the airport's there; you're not going to do much there, because I would hate to see us do anything on this particular site that precludes the development of that whole area, because I think this is probably could be one of the best served areas in the city for transportation. It's bracketed by 4 major roads. It's has the potential to have GO, LRT, everything in that. I'd like just to see that what the city's idea is for that whole area, so that we can, even if we have this, regardless of the merits, maybe this isn't the best configuration for it. If it shuts down some of those other options as far as transportation and other forms of development in the area.
Okay, thank you very much for that comment. I appreciate that. Sir. Hello.
First off, I'd like to thank the city for holding this consultation. If it really ends up being what this place ought to be up the highway. But I have my huge skepticism about it. I think the Woodbine Entertainment Center, this is the last opportunity, in my estimation, for Woodbine to get it right and for the city to get it right. And what I mean by that is, if you look back to the history of Woodbine and E.P. Taylor, it's been sitting there, I don't know, 65 hectares, my number is probably wrong. The board of Woodbine, wasn't called the Entertainment Center then, was looking at proposals from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, when I was even on a Etobicoke council. Nothing has happened. Now we have an opportunity to strike and to make a great facility here, not just in terms of gaming. Is the mic not on?
We can hear you, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Not only in terms of gaming, but in terms of entertainment, that's in the name, and in terms of this becoming a destination place. But I'm not so sure this city council has the vision to do that unless the council itself gets out and see what's going on at Woodbine. Not only is there job creation, but your economic development people have to sharpen their pencils and come up with specifics as to net real gains of different types of jobs. Because estimates to me are a hazy proposition. That's one thing that needs to be done. Secondly, there needs to be an urgency to it. But as I see again, we have the word process. So the process goes on, and if it's rejected by council, that pretty well ends it. That pretty well ends any opportunity of having that place developed in terms of the overall gaming and entertainment potential. It may even put a kibosh on the rapid transit that's supposedly coming in, or whatever. I think also the city planners, if I'll pray that we do have a vote that creates a great opportunity up there, a great destination site, because if you do, you will not only create jobs, we can minimize to some extent some of the negatives. For example, you have certain critics that will raise the point that we'll have greater gaming addiction. And I think you have to accept that reality. And since this city council and this city is always interested in raising taxes, I will give you another tax that possibly you could get through an agreement with the OLG. In the US, gaming is taxed. You go to Vegas, you go to what used to be Atlantic City, there was a tax put on most of the winnings. I don't want to see that happen. But I think a modest source of revenue to increase the counseling and the help that social gamblers will need. We need to have a tax on some of the winnings. What might that be? Maybe 10, 15%. Because we do not see actual numbers around. I looked back there, I probably missed them in terms of that proposition.
Okay.
I think also there's a large potential here in terms of not just the jobs in gaming and the hospitality industry, which is very key. In fact, when you look at where are we going to have the jobs for young people coming out of our public education system, this is one of the key areas. Now, you must be advocating all kids get into gaming. No, I'm not. So I want to make sure my remarks are not misconstrued that way.
Okay. Finally,
I think there is great potential for collaboration between Humber College, which is now the Humber Institute of Advanced Learning, and Woodbine in all phases. Because Humber a way back had a horse grooming, horse management program that they let go. And to me, it's one of the keys of helping.
Sorry, sir, if you could just maybe let people. We're very much interested in what you have to say. If you could just wait till people are done at the mic. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Go ahead and finish.
So I think there's a possibility around that. There's great creativity in business development for the city. So all these facets need to be looked at, and particularly the planning. The planning has to be done comprehensively, but we need to get city council and the planners need to become much more cognizant that there's urgency. And when we have timelines, if this thing goes through, you actually establish timelines that are reasonably firm. You don't get extensions and extensions and extensions. Otherwise, you're going to end up with this thing 5 or 8 years out, maybe comes to fruition. We haven't got that kind of time, in my estimation. This thing should be on the rails and going within a minimum of 2.5 to 3 years, in terms of all the issues around traffic, etc., if this thing is going to go. So I really think this is our last chance to create a great destination site, so that everything, I've lived in the north for over 35 years, everything doesn't have to be downtown.
Okay.
You know, that we can have, we talk about a world-class city, well then if you're gonna have one, you have to have this kind of a project, this kind of a business proposition succeed. And I think, given that if it were properly managed, we get some real political will behind it, it could become a major flower in the city's future.
Thank you very much for that feedback. Appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Nuruddin Boulay. I live in the area, and I'm also from the hospitality industry. This is an expansion. I'm sure it's going to create job. Number one, what kind of job is that? Is that the kind of job that supports family? Number one. My second question is, what kind of plan that you have for the community? In that community, as you know, we need a good job. Do you have a plan for that?
Okay. We have someone up to, someone coming up to address that, sir. Just give us a minute here. Thank you.
So one of the important things about this evening and the online survey and some of the other opportunities for engagement is to find out what people are looking for, what the community is looking for, and what opportunities we can actually solidify as part of this process. So what I'm hearing is that jobs are something that's important. Obviously, full-time jobs are, from some of the other comments, are something that's also important at this point. I think it's been pretty clear that council is going to have to weigh in, and council is going to be making the decisions about what types of conditions can be put on a potential approval for a casino expansion. So in terms of gathering some opinions here, I think I'm hearing quite clearly that full-time jobs and jobs, as to use your words, support families are the types of jobs that you're looking for. The fact of the matter is that we can't say confidently at this point that an agreement could be put in place between the city and OLG, or OLG and the operator, that could secure those things and give you any numbers at this time. However, it's important that that voice continue to be part of this conversation so as to maximize the likelihood of that happening.
So I'm Pam Roberts. I'm from Economic Development and Culture. And I just actually want to further to your point and the point the gentleman made earlier around part-time jobs versus full-time equivalents. That was a really good point that was made, and it's certainly something that we'll be looking at and considering when we make contributions to the report that's going forward in June. So recognizing that 2 half-time jobs aren't the same as a full-time equivalent, and you recognize how important that is to the community.
Thank you. Thank you, Pam. Yes.
Hi to everybody. I'm here just to summarize my long experience of pain and suffering as a compulsive gambler into one sentence only. Please do not expand any casinos. Expand the awareness of a terrible, fatal disease called compulsive gambling. Please expand any information about this addiction, which every single day is killing many innocent, brilliant, talented people. Robbing bread,
Excuse me, sir, just, thank you. Appreciate it.
robbing bread from the throat of innocent children by the money their ill, addicted parents are stealing, taking to casinos. I am a proud Canadian. I believe Canada is wealthy enough not to need this bloody revenue. We do not need this bloody revenue. Please stop. You know, this Woodbine itself, I get goosebumps when I remember how I was spending 16, 20 hours. Me, a person who wouldn't even spend 1 minute in such a place when I was healthy. But I was dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder. I had to take almost 20 pills every single day, painkillers, sleeping pills, antidepressants. So for me, just it happened for me to be in a wrong place at the wrong time. I destroyed my life from a decent life to homelessness, literally homeless. Please stop creating more and more and more death and family destroying and hospitals full of people and suicides. Please, just somebody to be brave enough to search about how many people are killing themselves every single day. Thank you.
Thank you for your feedback, appreciate that. Yes, sir.
Hi, Tom Holland. I'm a Toronto resident. I'm pro-expansion, pro-responsible revenue from gambling, and pro-harm reduction from gambling. I looked through the motions that were passed earlier in support of this, and Mary Margaret McMahon, yeah, she tabled a motion for location data on current users of Woodbine slots and electronic gambling, including gambling losses, be provided as inputs for harm mitigation strategies. And that lost. And what I'll say is the OLG's done an excellent job in implementing the Winner Circle program. And we all know that's an incentive program for playing. And you capture from when the person gets in there, attached to their identification profile, all their gambling, time, money wager, time spent. So there's lots of powerful data that can be immediately produced. TPH can get with OLG tomorrow. The data guys can pump out tons of reports, but you can get number of gamblers that gamble at Woodbine, average 10 days per month or more. We can all say that's excessive gambling, right? Use that as an input. You could have the young adults, 19 to 22, if you want. If you want to extend that and use those players' cards and go to the Ontario school system and find out how many Humber college students are cross-referencing there and get that data as well. Average losses per month for excessive gamblers. So there's lots of inputs that I think should be made available, because they can't just use it for marketing, they should use it for harm mitigation strategies as well. And these are valuable data that's immediately available. So I think that would be one input that should be added.
Okay, thank you.
Another one related to the last process executed that was the no vote 40-4 for the Toronto casino. So the Toronto Public Health produced a report that gave a bunch of harm mitigation strategies, and those mitigation strategies, they weren't accepted or used by OLG in any fashion. I remember OLG said, kind of scoffed at them and basically made fun of a few, but this process here, on the 1st of June, when the Toronto Public Health comes with harm mitigation strategies, I would suggest that there's a process where OLG and maybe other stakeholders actually sit down and innovate new harm mitigation solutions, because Ontario has the ability, because it's government run, and they can, you know, have leverage over all the casinos in Ontario. They're going to be supplied in this report with a lot more harm mitigation strategies than the last report. So I think the city manager responsible for the report, Peter Notaro, is going to get one in his office, and so is Toronto Public Health, which has a lot of unarguable solutions that will significantly reduce the harm from gambling that can be implemented. So I just would recommend that there's an actual process where OLG says, wow, we have to accept this. This is real. We can implement this and move that forward. But the last process didn't have that. Okay, makes sense. And the final statement is privatization. So I'm a casino resort, very experienced person. So I understand a lot of the background on this. But the privatization, I haven't seen any value justification for the math. And when you step back and you say gambling is a forever business for Ontario, so what we're going to do is we're going to get 3 different, you know, people to bid on 3 different packages. Then we're going to take a big chunk of profits and hand them over forever. We're going to hand these profits over forever to another third-party company that we're going to have problems controlling, implementing new harm mitigation strategies. Stop it. And I think we should really take this as an opportunity to work out the risk profile of outsourcing versus doing it right once. And I can tell you, Caesars, MGM, they haven't made profits in a decade. They do not run their businesses well, and there's not a lot of complex processes running casino resort operations. So if you keep it in-house, we can pay our people more, train them more, have better job breadth and retention, better career plans for our employees. It'll be better for Ontario. So I think that should be added as an evaluation for this casino resort complex, because I think there's a brilliant opportunity here to make a great, you know, international revenue source and Canadian revenue source for responsible revenue. Make sense?
Thank you for that.
I just want to comment, thank you very much. Those were very helpful measures and indicators that you pointed out. And I just wanted to note that, as you probably heard earlier, public health and city staff, we're going to be linking our reports together. We're going to collaborate, fact find together, and those 2 reports will be coming forward to City Council at the same time. So the findings from the Board of Health and the City Manager's report, if it does go through Executive Committee, will all come through at the same cycle. So I just wanted to add that process plan. Yes.
Hi, my name is Liz Pimentel. I'm the president of the Hospitality Workers Union here in Toronto. We represent about 8,000 people across the city and about 2,000 in the west end of the city, including 400 workers at Woodbine. So we have a couple different concerns. One is protecting the existing jobs that are at Woodbine and making sure that the operation that's there is sustainable and and functioning really well, and a real tourism hub, so that the jobs that are there plus the new jobs that would come would be very stable. You know, people have raised full-time jobs, and we want full-time unionized jobs in that place. So that's one concern, is protecting the existing jobs. But in terms of new union jobs, what kinds of assurances do you think you can give around that, around the idea of labor rights being respected? And a kind of separate but related question is, are you contemplating conditions around sort of the size of the operation? Because, as the Hospitality Workers Union, we deal with gaming all over North America, and there's a really big difference between sort of a slot box type of a model and an actual resort destination kind of a model, both in terms of what it offers the city, but also how it attracts tourists and also the kind of jobs it creates. And so I'm wondering, what's being contemplated around sort of the size of the operation.
Okay.
Hi, thank you. I'll start and may turn it over to planning. But as you may recall, in 2013, we did city staff, city planning did look at the potential land use options for expansion at Woodbine. You might see some of our figures on our boards. If they're not there, we'll be putting it as background on our website. I don't have the figures off the top of my head in terms of size, but I just want to note that related to the labor agreement, we have been asked to address very explicitly the types of questions you are raising. So staff, in addition to hearing what you have to say, and in meeting with stakeholders, we are reviewing the size of facility and the type of jobs for our report coming back. I'll see if
Hi, my name is Neil Cresswell. I'm the Director of Community Planning for the Etobicoke York District. So in 2013, City Planning did a report on the size of the facility and what it might mean in a number of locations around the city. I anticipate we will do likewise in this report through the City Manager's Office. And what we have to recognize is that right now there is not a specific proposal that is being brought forward. The specific proposal will come forward later, but it would be encoded in the conditions that staff may recommend to City Council. For example, is the city interested in putting conditions on development in addition to expanded gaming? Does the city want to say to WEG and OLG that yes, we would allow expanded gaming, but you also have to provide these kinds of facilities in addition to the expanded gaming alone? So that kind of information will come through the planning division and through the other divisions who are writing the report with the City Manager's Office for Executive Committee and ultimately City Council.
Thank you. Yes.
My name is David. I work at the Rogerson. So I'm a shop steward there. And we have about 1,000 workers and mostly young people. So what I'm concerned about with this project is how are we going to be sure that this is going to be some union jobs and that these are going to be people who can afford to take care of themselves and their families? Because as a young person right now, there's not a whole lot there's not a whole lot that's out there. So it's a major concern that we have things to look forward to. And if we're planning a large entertainment complex that's going to be a landmark in the city, we have to make sure that we take care of ourselves along the way. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I think some of the information provided so far regarding jobs, but I'll have folks reiterate it.
Just to echo the points raised earlier, there isn't sorry, I'm Todd Orvitz. I work with the Social Development Finance Administration Division of the City of Toronto. One of the things, we're representing one of the boards back there in respect of the community benefits agreements. One of the things that's identified on there is the possible inclusion of job opportunities within a possible community benefits agreement. But as was said earlier, there's currently not a proposal on table, so it's difficult to say what numbers of jobs will be available from any one perspective. That said, the city is well aware of the importance that the jobs issue has in respect of a possible expansion of the casino. So that's something that's going to be looked at. It's important that the community continue to express its opinions about that. Thanks.
I don't know if there's anyone here from OLG that can answer this, but it sounds as though they're looking for a third-party partner to operate the casinos. It looks like there's 3 different zones that are being contemplated. If the expansion goes forward and City Council says, yes, we're going to agree to expand the operation of Woodbine, and then Woodbine Entertainment obviously would be the operator of that, I'm assuming, does that then make them the preferred service provider for these other zones?
So just to be clear, I skimmed over this probably very quickly in the opening presentation. You may recall the zones that are in the GTA that Woodbine is a part of. Woodbine is a part of a C2 zone, there's a C3 zone, and a potential C8 zone, which is bundled in the OLG purchasing that's going on. So our understanding is that they're looking for one operator to cover all 3 of those locations in their process.
Sir.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jeff Carmichael. I actually live in the central north part of the city. But for much of my career, I've been doing social development work through sport and recreation. And I've worked in East Scarborough and in this area. And I also taught at Humber and I've been doing some work with Humber College as well. And when I come into this area, I've always thought this was the right location. This is a personal comment from my perspective because I've gone to the Staples, and I've just seen places that aren't as busy as they should be. When I work in East Scarborough, when I work here with some of the local agencies, many of them feel they're a forgotten corner of Toronto. So I certainly support and have always supported this as being the right location, but now I have a question, and it is for City of Toronto staff. I'm wondering within the staff report that you would prepare for council, whether or not you would be recommending or could recommend that some of the funds received from the additional revenue by the city would be dedicated to things that would be aligned with, example, the Canadian Index of Wellbeing. The Ontario Trillium Foundation, which has been a tremendous community funder for years, is right now aligning their funds with the Canadian Index of Wellbeing. And I do think that not only would Woodbine be contributing to possibly some social causes, though, rather than just throwing that million into general revenues for infrastructure, whatever, would staff be in a position to dedicate some funds to things that are in the betterment and the healthy development of this community and possibly all underserviced communities in Toronto?
Okay, thank you for that question.
Thank you very much for that question. So as you probably know through what I understood from your question, the city currently, as part of its agreement with the OLG contributes approximately today about $15 million a year from a formula that allows the city to receive that amount. And right now, as you mentioned, that those funds do go into general revenue. In terms of an expansion, in terms of there's the standard formula in place. City staff don't anticipate a huge increase in the level of revenue that's potential to the city should City Council allow an expansion. But just want to note that in 2013, when we did look at this issue, staff did advise to dedicate the revenues, but it was more to infrastructure and transit. This time around, we're listening, we are assessing, and we understand the points that you've raised, very excellent ones. And I think in terms of whether we look at dedicating those revenues again, we will look at that most certainly. But I just want to note, in terms of this review, we don't anticipate the wealth of revenues coming towards the city under this initiative.
Peter? Again, I encourage folks to use the mic, just again, so we can capture feedback that comes in.
Outsource is a buzzword for union busting. That's when you outsource, you try to get rid of the union. That's what it's all about when you outsource. I mean, you got a whole bunch of managers here. How many of them are on the sunshine list? And all they do is try to figure out how to outsource, and then you get rid of union workers. If you don't believe me, I can give you my name, phone number, and I'll give you a half-hour PowerPoint, and I'll show you what the city has done union busting. Even with the garbage, they're trying to. So that's I don't like the outsource. If you're gonna hire within,
okay,
and give a decent wage for a decent job.
Okay, thank you. It's certainly welcome. We're welcoming more feedback, but it doesn't look like anyone else has approached the mic, and I spoke too soon. Oh. I keep encouraging all folks who are speaking to come up to the mic, but I can't force people to go to the mic, that's for sure.
Good evening, and my name is Peter Leon. I'm a long-term resident here of Etobicoke, and I kind of want to speak openly. I've lived in Etobicoke now for 60 years. In the early days, before we became a city, we talked about developing the northwest corner and making things happen. When we became a city, it was a dream to build the northwest corner. And we saw Woodbine Racetrack grow and develop into the international event that it's become up there. We've watched industry grow up in that area, and we've watched industry walk away from that area lately. But new industry is coming back. There are people living in that area who could use an opportunity to better themselves. I see this development, this opportunity, as something really great for this part of Etobicoke. We have businesses up there who could grow and feed to an expanded operation like we're talking about. We have many food companies, international large food companies here in Etobicoke that could feed to that. But most importantly, we have people who would like to upgrade their lifestyle, people who would like to make a better community, people who would like to become a part of something. And I see this opportunity as a way we can get this happening for our people. We have a wonderful educational facility in Humber College. They can teach the people that are needed for this industry. Look at the people who are in the taxi industry. Look at the people who are in the transportation industry. Just recently, transportation now is going to be opened up into this corridor, and there's new things coming through Councillor Crescenti. This is an opportunity to better this part of Etobicoke for the future, and for the future of the people who are living there, and for the young people. The young people are important. We know we have to give them a career. We have to give them an opportunity to look to the future. I think this development, done properly, done with the community in mind, could make that happen. So if I can contribute these remarks tonight to what you're doing, I say get started, come back to the community with some ideas, give the presentations, and let's get the shovels in the ground just as quickly as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name's Wanda Sinclair, and I lived in that riding since 1961. And first, my question is, why are we not holding this meeting in our riding? Second, I've grown up in the area, and I remember the parking lot where there's no cars during the week. My parents would take their cars and motorcycles and drive up and down that area. So I really like the way they're doing it now. And the other question is, you're thinking of putting a hub there. Where will it be? Humber College or at the racetrack? Because many people go to both areas. And I would love to see the train station right where the spur line is to not only take care of Woodbine Racetrack, but the people coming from Kitchener who want to come to the airport. And that's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you. A couple of questions there.
Thank you for that question. In terms of the selection of the venue tonight, as you probably know, we used this facility 2 years ago, and it was a successful event then. We thought, and we had access to the facility this evening, and it was really a matter of finding an appropriate facility at the appropriate time. There was no thought. We needed a local event in Etobicoke, and this was the best venue for this evening. In terms of some of your questions related to transportation, I'm not sure if there's some comments from transportation planning.
Hi, Richard Beck, Transportation Planning again. With respect to the hub location, as you know, the Finch LRT is currently planned in the detailed design now, and it's planned to terminate now at Humber College Boulevard, where we've got an on-site bus terminal that Humber College is already building that's going to be servicing the regional transit operators as well as TTC at that hub. As part of the consideration of this through the city manager's report, we've been asked to look at the opportunities to extend the Finch LRT from the terminus at Humber College south to Rexdale, Woodbine, as well as to the airport. So that's a study that's sort of ongoing as well. And we've also been looking at the opportunities for a future GO station at this location. It's in the city's official plan. It's at the 27th, sort of the rail corridor location. And we know that Woodbine Entertainment Group would love to have an Up Express stop there as well. So that would be in the same location as a potential for a GO station. Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
Good evening to everyone. My name is Josh Wasai. I'm a hotel worker. I'm an immigrant and a hotel worker. And having a union job is very important to me, to all the community out here in Woodbine. And my question is, will there be a hotel built in the expansion, and also there will be union jobs coming through to it?
I think we've maybe addressed some of the employment parts of your question, but in terms of a hotel, I'll turn things over to Peter again.
Thank you. When the deputy mayor opened with his opening remarks, he said we're going to be looking at what we did in 2013. You may recall in 2013, as part of the staff's review, we suggested that should there be an expansion, that a hotel be a part of the Woodbine expansion. I believe it was, I don't have my sheet, I think it was like an 800-room hotel. So I believe we're going to be re-examining that once again.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes.
Hi, my name's Joanne, and I've been working at Woodbine for 29 years. And I'm glad that we get the opportunity to be here again. And let's get the shovel in the ground. I get laid off in the wintertime. It's been happening for 29 years because the racing season slows down. And we have a unique product along with the gaming to attract people to Woodbine. And we have great employees there. That's why they stay for 29, 45, 40 years. And I think people keep coming back. And I think we need to let Torontonians know what we have in Toronto right here.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for that. So I don't see anyone jumping up. Oh, okay. There you go.
Well, I'm from the other side of town, but as it goes, what I see is a major league airport on, just to his left, or, Mississauga, and then you got across, I said Topiaries, the convention center. It's a big convention center, because when it was in the furniture business, used to have the big, in January, the big business. This thing is a driver in modern times. Okay, it has every potentiality to be a world-class venue because of the airport, because of the venue, because I don't mind saying of the. This may sound ribald, but when I used to be a stripper's agent, they had the $1 Million Saloon. I'm trying to think, Route 66, and this is already, if you don't know, a touchdown destination like Las Vegas overnight for a guy called Mulroney or something like that, Maloney. Okay, this is going to be, and I don't want anybody worrying about the bent noses and moralistic. I said what I call them puritanicals. This is the real world. This is going to be a major structure, a major driver for an area that fundamentally is concretized. This is the salvation. Okay, what can we do with this? What I insist, a subway underneath so the people from Malvern can get to, like, the 400 series of highways up the Don Valley Parkway, across the 401, down the 427 to the Gardner. Same with the subway, okay? And a P3 that makes sense because the contract pays the public. That is to say, revenue tools, non-inflationary concerns, that is every dollar bet is a dollar bet that day. See, and it's going to get split up across. These are the realities of what this thing's going to embody, and what we're not going to say no to based on what. Okay, no, what? What are your concerns?
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I think we'll take a break. The back tables, the information booth, I should say, as well as our feedback stations, which some of you used earlier, are still up and running. We encourage you to use those now that you have a bit of information. And we'll come back maybe in 10 or 15 minutes and see where folks are at. We'll open up the mic again. And for those of you who may leave us during that time, I thank you very much for coming, and hope to see the rest of you back in a few minutes. Thank you.
Sure.
Good.
That's the whole point.
Mark Collins. Sent an email. Sorry, I can't respond. Take everything. Yeah. Give it to the paper. Yeah. Post it. Yeah. Oh, really?
How you doing? Good. Yeah, it's a long day.
How many people there are going home by bus? It only runs about half an hour.
Oh, really? It runs on the half hour?
Something like that.
Yeah.
That's why I want it up in my area. Where it's supposed to be.
That's understandable.
Talking about Woodbine, why couldn't you hold it at Woodbine, then we can play slots.
Fair enough. Sometimes it's hard to find space.
The other thing, look at the over here. The first people won't talk to you.
Right.
I notice that when I go in and out of certain areas.
Not sure why that is. I'm going to see if you want to get things back going so people can catch their buses.
I'm not sure what time it goes. I wish I did.
Six or six?
Oh, I see. Sure. Thank you very much. Okay, folks.
Right. The last guy, yeah. Remember the last speaker?
Yes.
The heck?
Yeah, All right, folks, if for those of you who are still around, just to keep the process going, if we could have you return to your chairs, that would be greatly appreciated.
Going good, buddy? Going good? Should have some coffee.
Yeah.
Some whiskey, something.
When you bring in catering, you got a whole, like, you got licenses.
I don't know. Metro Ladies always seems to have cookies and stuff
Oh,
at theirs.
oh, she goes for the cookies.
Okay, we lost a few people, but I see some of you are still here. Thank you very much for that. Quite frankly, we're just going to replicate what we did before the break, which is now that you've had an opportunity to maybe absorb what you heard in the first part of the session, or talk to some of the folks at the back of the room. If you have any other final comments, additional questions, etc., we very much welcome those. If I sense kind of there's a decreased energy and no more questions, we'll possibly wrap things up early, but we're not necessarily trying to do that. So the mic is open, the floor is open. Let us know if you have any additional thoughts, questions. Okay, thank you.
I know you guys sponsor the casino. I'm not too sure. Gamblers Anonymous, is that the casino OLG give money to them? Does anybody know? Yes, nobody knows. I think we should increase the funding to these people. And I was up there, I really felt really bad for her, and that we should get like that. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
So again, I'm not trying to wrap things up early here, but if I don't see, yes, sir.
My name is Leo, and I was born and raised in Toronto all my life. We've yet to hear anything from a customer as opposed to people with different interests in whether the development takes place or not. I'm here to speak as a customer. There is such a thing as responsible gaming. There is such a thing as having a lifestyle that embraces the gaming activities, what goes with the gaming activities, the hotels, the shows that they put on, the numerous sporting events, the spas, the whole works. You know, like there is sort of a lifestyle that goes along with the gaming industry. I've been involved in that lifestyle for over 25 years. I do it very responsibly. I'm a successful businessman in our community. I do well for myself, yet I gamble very responsibly. But I've embraced that lifestyle. I have numerous friends who are very active in other areas of life. They choose to travel. They choose to become members of a golf club, for example. And they spend tens of thousands of dollars a year in memberships for these golf clubs. And they too enjoy that lifestyle. They enjoy the dinners. They enjoy the camaraderie that they build through that lifestyle. There's a very large amount of people that, like myself, enjoy the gaming industry in a very responsible fashion. I live in Toronto, yet I have to travel from an hour to an hour and a half to drive somewhere to achieve that entertainment value that I'm looking for, to enrich that part of my life that I have grown to like and enjoy, and it's just part of who I am. We even get on a plane and fly to Atlantic City or fly to Las Vegas. Why do we have to continuously do this? I've paid taxes in this city for years and years. I love the city of Toronto. It's a world-class city. We should have a world-class resort that's available to us for the people that handle this type of gaming industry responsibly, where we can attend and it's more convenient for us. It's very dangerous driving to Niagara Falls or to Orillia in the winter months. As we all know, the roads can be treacherous at times. I just think that it's long overdue. We should have something within the city boundaries where we can enjoy this lifestyle if this is what we choose to have. And thank you very much for all the input from people. I've been enlightened into a lot of different aspects involved in the gaming industry. I just thought it was important as a customer to step up and give my opinion on that basis as well too. And I'm all for us proceeding with this.
Thank you for that, sir. Appreciate it. Any other comments, folks? Okay, well, what I'm going to do is, this screen was up. Oh, sorry, that's okay.
I'll comment. I'm Suzanne Hall, former councillor for Ward 1. And I'm still extremely active in the community on a number of boards. People do not discuss Woodbine with me. If they have any concerns, it's more about other aspects that are happening in the community, not about Woodbine. I've heard from the police that say the major issue that they have had up there, which the general public is not necessarily aware of, is car theft in the parking lot. I suppose the people that I interact with on a daily basis, and that's many individuals when you're out in your community. Perhaps they aren't parking their cars there, so nothing is getting stolen. I would say that we've had the agreement, the public announcement of the Etobicoke Finch LRT going into Humber College. There was a feasibility study done about taking it from Humber over to Woodbine. It was seen as quite possible. If this were to go through, that's something we could take a look at. I know the provincial government is interested in seeing this happen. Perhaps then we could encourage them to increase the funding in order to do that. The reality is the businesses around there, they were really looking forward to Woodbine Live. They were looking forward to enhancing their business. In fact, I'm aware that the Etobicoke General Hospital was looking to take over one of the businesses that were in the plazas across from Woodbine, and they chose not to because Woodbine Live was going in, and they chose not to move away from it. So it hurt people when that died. And so I can see that as only being beneficial. It is ringed by highways. There is not a lot of residential. The people in our community are not either concerned or express support simply because it doesn't impact their daily lives. But it would if there were more jobs available for them, if we were able to get the Toronto community benefits that come from all of this development. It could really help in some of our, especially our high priority neighborhoods. So I think we should just get on with it.
Thank you for that feedback. I think I'll wait us 2 seconds longer this time. Okay, folks, I am going to put this screen up. I've seen folks writing down this URL, which is great. We encourage you to not only fill out the survey yourself, but encourage others who maybe missed tonight to fill it out. It's another stream of data for us to provide back to the city. And I think we'll kind of maybe continue the session on in the format that the open house format, where folks can talk to and with others. But close the mic down at this point. I personally want to thank you very much for your time. As one of the researchers on this file, this type of data is very beneficial in addition to that sort of statistic data that you get. That's important as well, but this is the stuff where you get to put insight to faces and experiences and stories, and that's invaluable when it comes to us providing insight back to the city. So thank you very much for that. Round of applause for yourselves and all the other folks who are here with us tonight. Thank you. And that's it. Thank you.